What's up, everybody? My name is Robbie. You're watching Geek Level Asian, and it is time to form Voltron! In 2016, Dreamworks rebooted Voltron, and it's called Voltron Legendary Defender. It is a big upgrade from the original 80s cartoon. So I recently went back and watched that old 80s television show, and yes, I can imagine for that time period, that show was amazing. And obviously, you know, it has a very big cult following. Whenever I talk about Power Rangers, people who are older than me always say, oh, well, have you seen Voltron? Yeah, I've seen Voltron. It's awesome. But when I look back on the old show now, I mean, the animation doesn't hold up, obviously, because that's technology and that's nobody's fault. Voice acting has gotten to a point where characters are just so believable now. And when you look back on the old show, it's like, okay, I could see where the beginnings of voice acting happened, and it just doesn't, it's just not on the same level as present day. Season 1 came out in 2016, and Season 2 was recently released. And like most Netflix shows, I binge watched it. I watched it probably all in one day. I just could not stop. Every time an episode ended, I was like, you know what? I could probably fit another one in. To the point where it was over. And I think one of the things that kept me hooked, that made me want to keep watching as I was binge watching this show, is that the creators, the writers, did a really awesome job really honing in on what makes a good team. We have different individuals, people coming from different walks of life, that are taking their personalities and what they know and their expertise and adding it to the greater good of the team. And that's where the new cast of voice actors really set the show apart from its pioneering but dated origins. Josh Keaton from Green Lantern plays Shiro. Shiro is the leader and pilots the Black Lion. Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead plays Keith and pilots the Red Lion. Jeremy Shada from Adventure Time, who literally grew up voice acting, plays Lance, pilot of the Blue Lion. Bex Taylor-Klaus from Arrow plays Pidge, pilot of the Green Lion. Pidge has also been announced as a female in this version of Voltron. Tyler Labine from Tucker and Dale vs. Evil plays Hunk, the pilot of the Yellow Lion, or I consider the Cowardly Lion. He's not useless or anything, he's not a coward, he just pukes in his lion a lot. He's the guy who didn't really want to be there at first, but he's realized that he's part of this thing that is greater than himself. Kimberly Brooks from Mass Effect plays Princess Allura. Princess Allura doesn't get to pilot a lion anymore, but she does join the fight in hand-to-hand combat against the Gora. And last but not least, Rhys Darby from Flight of the Conchords plays Karan, Princess Allura's right-hand man and one of the last Alteans. I am so glad that he's a part of this show because he is extremely funny on Flight of the Conchords. All of his stand-ups are really funny. He's great in Yes Man, and I think he really adds a very needed comedic relief in this show. As an audience, we get to see the inner conflicts that Shiro faces as the leader, the things that he has to deal with while also trying to be the leader of this team. There are things in his past, there are things in his life that he either doesn't remember or he's trying to make sense of, and he's facing all these problems while being the leader of Voltron. They did a really good job taking the animated characters and having them interact with CGI. Every time that you see the lion, or every time that you see Voltron, or they're doing some type of sequence up in outer space where there's a battle and there's ships, and there are things that are supposed to be architecturally perfect, they're using CGI. And when they mix in the characters who are all animated cartoons, it looks like it makes sense. I've seen a lot of shows that try to do this, and it just does not work. I mean, everyone remembers Initial D. Well, maybe some people remember Initial D. But for those of you who don't, Initial D was a show about drifting. The original season came out years and years and years ago, but it was funny because whenever you saw a car, it was very terrible CGI. We're talking the Virtua Fighter days, and you would see this 2D version of the driver in the car, and it didn't look good. Even when I originally saw it, which was years ago, it didn't look good. Now, one of my favorite shows that also incorporates gigantic robots and pilots is Neon Genesis Evangelion. And in that show, there is something called a sync ratio. And your sync ratio is basically how synced up you are to your Eva, your gigantic robot. And if your sync ratio is low, then it's not going to react as well, and you might not even be able to pilot it correctly. If it's high, that means you are in tune with the living organism that is an Eva. I just kind of spoiled things a little bit, so don't pay attention to that if you haven't seen the show. There is an entire aspect of that now in Voltron. It's not like you can just hop in a lion and be a pilot. There is an acceptance period. The lion has to trust you. There is some type of relationship that you have to form with the lion, and I think that that is really awesome because it gives some type of alive, organic presence to the lion itself, making it seem like they are real animals, they are alive, and if you want to be a good pilot, if you want to be a good paladin, you have to make sure that you have your lion's trust. I mean, in Season 1, there are scenes where they're even learning how to create Voltron. I mean, yeah, they're in their own lions and they're flying around, but they have a problem even forming Voltron. I mean, if you put me in a lion, I wouldn't know how to then become an arm or to become a leg. You know, we'd have to practice that, and they kind of go through that, which is funny. And it kind of shows you where the team started off, and we haven't really ever seen that before. So the character development on this show is absolutely astounding. I mean, in Season 1, they introduce you to all these characters that are relatable, that are lovable, that are interesting. And now we want to learn more about them, and we've gotten that with Season 2. In the beginning of Season 1, we get to see all the paladins receive their Bayard, which is a weapon that's specific to them. Like, for instance, Keith's is a sword, and Lance's is a rifle. Shiro's is his hand. Shiro has to use his hand as a weapon. But all of this is explained in Season 2, and you should really watch it. So definitely check out Voltron Legendary Defender, especially if you were a fan of the old show. Season 1 and 2 are already out on Netflix, so if you have an account, great. If you don't have one, get one. Toy Story Woody reference. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me on another episode of Geek Level Asian. If you've already watched Voltron Legendary Defender, please let me know what you think of the show in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram at Geek Level Asian, and I'll see you next time.